Week 12 preview and the NFL playoff odds. It is the FTN Fantasy Schatz and Tanier NFL podcast for Thursday, November 21st, 2024. I am Aaron Schatz. You know me as that DVOA guy from FTN Fantasy. He is Mike Tanier. You follow his Substack at miketanier.substack.com. Of course, we're here Mondays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. and we take your questions and comments. It is not a great schedule this week. We're going to be really honest here. There are some pretty good NFC matchups that will help determine NFC playoffs and NFC playoff seeding, but we'll get to this in a second. It's not the best 1 o'clock window. But first, I do want to remind everyone that we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, which is the best way to enjoy the game. It is the easiest place to play fantasy sports and the fastest growing app in the industry. Underdog offers a new customer FTN special with up to $1,000 on your first-time deposit using the code FTN. The Underdog app is easy to use, and the weekly contests such as the onside kick, double doink, and 2-minute drill are all there, or you can just do the champions thing where you just pick the over or the under on a number of different stats, and you put together a parlay with as many players as you want, and you win big. Head over to Underdog for a deposit match up to $1,000 when you sign up with code FTN. That's up to $1,000 extra. NFL season is here, and who better to celebrate with than Underdog Fantasy? We are going to skip Thursday night, Steelers and Browns. The only thing I want to say about Thursday night is that I was looking yesterday. The Browns lead the league in pressure rate from FTN charting, and yet they're 24th on defense, which is like the secondary has had the problems this year.
Secondary has had the problems, and they're on the field a ton. They're just on the field a ton. So,
yeah. Let's go to Sunday's games. The 1 o'clock window does not have a lot of good games. You know, I don't think there's a single game with two winning teams in the 1 o'clock window. The best game at 1 o'clock is probably the 8-2 Vikings at the 4-6 Bears, which I mostly wanted to talk about as just an excuse to ask how much you may have watched the new look Bears offense last week and what you thought. They were sending guys downfield more. DJ Moore in particular was sending downfield more, and at the same time, Williams was getting rid of the ball quicker, which is good.
He's getting rid of the ball quicker, and they were sending guys downfield, but they were generating more layups as well. I pulled a few stats. So 5 or less air yards, passes of 5 or less air yards last week. Caleb Williams, 17 of 19 for 134 yards. It's 17 layups, pretty good yards per carry. To give you some perspective, against the Patriots, they were 9 of 15 for just 48 yards on these 5 air yards or less throws. Against the Commanders, they were just 2 of 9 for 3 yards on short passes. Now, there were probably a couple throwaways in there. I think there were like screen passes they had to throw at the guy's foot or whatever, because it's hard to go 2 of 9 on 5 air yard or less pass plays. So they were generating some of those. Another stat, again, 5 air yards or less. DJ Moore went downfield more, but on these shorter passes, he was 6 of 6 for 56 yards. I think that was only the second time this season he was targeted 6 times on these shorter passes. And I think that's really the key to this. I saw both obvious layups, obvious scripted throws for Williams to get the ball out of his hand quickly to Moore and to some of the other guys at Dunze as well. He was also checking down very well. So late in the play, he wasn't zeroing in. There were a couple. I know there was a 3rd down conversion. There was a 4th down conversion where he was comfortable getting the ball down into the flat or over the middle of the field. Clearly secondary, tertiary target. That's something we hadn't seen since like the Panthers game. And I don't know what this means moving forward. I don't think this means a lot this particular week.
I mean, this is a really tough defense they're facing this week. So
yes, it's more like longitudinal. Like the offensive coordinator of the future is not on the coaching staff on the payroll right now. But can Williams continue to say, I'm comfortable making these shorter throws. I'm comfortable checking down. He's running better too. Like he was taking off and running, which he doesn't like to do. It's like you're a rookie. Get out there, get the yardage, slide, and move the sticks. You know?
He knows how to slide.
Jaden Daniels don't, but he does.
Flipping it around, by the way, the Bears defense is 9th against the pass and 31st against the run.
Really?
So I would hammer the Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones, I would just run the ball. If I'm Minnesota, I mean, I know obviously Jefferson and Addison, but I would want to run the ball a lot against this defense because they are really a run funnel.
Yeah, I saw Aaron Jones. I think he was a limited participation or a rest. I think he's okay. One thing on the injury report, these teams are pretty healthy. DeAndre Swift did not practice. I believe that's hamstring. They're optimistic he will play. I had no idea about the Bears' run defense. So I guess whenever I'm watching them, I'm seeing their pass defense succeed, and I'm so focused on Caleb, I don't notice they're getting gouged.
The line is Vikings -3.5.
Oh, take that. Take that.
Yeah, I like the Vikings. This is honestly a really good week of road favorites. There's a lot of road favorites that I like this week.
Ooh, that sounds like a hook for my Sunday column.
If you want a hook, this is a good number of road favorites that I like. Not just to win, but to cover. Cap for Life, by the way, has a fantasy question. You're going to have to remind me of who these guys play this week before I can answer that. So Cap for Life, if you want to let me know, remind me, because either of those are not the games we're talking about on the show.
And you're right. These 1 o'clock matchups are not good.
Speaking of favorites that I like on the road, the 9-1 Detroit Lions at the 5-6 Colts. Again, these 1 o'clock matchups are not good. The Colts are in the playoffs 38% of the time with a win, 17% of the time with a loss. But of course, the Detroit Lions are number 2 or number 1 in offense, defense, and special teams, while the Colts are 21st overall.
Wow.
Just a lot. I went looking for reasons to believe, weaknesses of the Lions, and reasons to believe that the Colts could win. I found that the Lions are only 15th in DVOA passing on third downs.
Okay.
But the Colts are 25th in defensive pass defense against the pass on third downs. The Colts are 31st in pass block win rate. They are 28th in pressure rate on defense. Jared Goff currently has the league's lowest DVOA when he's under pressure.
Okay, which is seldom.
Which is very Jared Goff.
Yes.
But he's not under pressure very much.
No, because they can run the ball down your throat. He's very efficient.
Because they have good linemen, yeah.
And they're leading by 50 points often, which means you're not going to be able to tee it up. Quick injury report for the Colts to make things worse. Bernard Raymond, left tackle, good left tackle, missed last week, has a knee injury, did not practice on Wednesday. His replacement is rookie Matt Gonglaves, who was bad against the Bills, but was a little bit better last week. Not a total disaster, but they'll probably go with a rookie left tackle this week.
Here's another possible weakness: the Colts strength. The Colts are the number 3 offense in the fourth quarter.
Oh, well,
sounds good until you hear that the Lions are the number 2 defense in the fourth quarter. Right? So like the Lions are not like, we have a 40-point lead, let's let you score. They're like, we have a 40-point lead. No, sorry, you can't score. Sorry.
Yeah, and we've seen that a couple of times as well. We saw that Colts fourth quarter offense. That was a night and day flip switch for Anthony Richardson last week against the Jets. I got into some trouble on Threads criticizing Anthony Richardson. And of course, I think he's playing better than Joe Flacco. I think he's got a better choice right now. His on-target percentage as a passer is 65%. That's 42nd out of 43 quarterbacks with 50-plus attempts. So in terms of on-target, he's between Tyler Huntley and Cooper Rush in that. I switched from Sports Info Solutions to Pro Football Reference. His bad throw percentage, 25.3%, is the worst in the NFL. So yeah, we see the highlights, but he can't continually throw just legitimately bad passes a quarter of the time. That's not sustainable.
Iceman asks if Brian Branch has any chance as a dark horse defensive player of the year.
I don't think so. But
I don't think so. Edge rushers have won this for a few years. And I think if it's not an edge rusher, it would either be Fred Warner or one of the top cornerbacks like Surtain, who's played really well this year. I don't think they'd give it to a nickel guy, even though Branch has played really well.
Whereas Xavier McKinney, who had like 6 interceptions, 1 or 2 more interceptions, he would get into the conversation as well. But I mean, TJ Watt right now, I think is on the top of the short list. I can look up the numbers real quick, but I don't see it going to Brian Branch. It's going to take me a minute to do this. So,
all right. And by the way, Cap for Life, just to take your question, he says Westbrook, Akini, or Tank Dell. Again, I don't remember who each buddy playing, but I would usually go with Tank Dell. Usually go with Tank Dell there. Tank Dell, very good.
Tank Dell, very good. Westbrook Akini catching passes from Will Levis. Defensive Player of the Year, Watt at -200. Dexter Lawrence plus 1,000. Chris Jones plus 1,000. Will Anderson plus 1,200. Yeah, I don't see Brian Branch working his way into that conversation. He's at plus 1,600.
Where's Surtain?
Surtain? I mean, with everybody over 1,000, where is Surtain? Yeah. He's at plus 2,500.
Wow, I'm surprised that he's at I'm surprised Branch's odds are better than Surtain's. But yeah,
okay. So they are paying attention in that respect, which is cool. But again, TJ Watt -200 right now, kind of like the storyline defender of a team that's winning games because of, in a large part, because of their defense.
Yeah. All right, on to the 4 p.m. games, and this is much better than the 1 p.m. window.
Oh yes.
And we start with the 49ers 5-5 at the Packers 7-3. 49ers make the playoffs 44% of the time with a win, 11% with a loss.
11% of the time with a loss.
Packers make it 91% with a win, 61% with a loss.
Wow.
So here you have your number 6 and 8 teams in DVOA. The Packers are weak against tight ends, 28th, and it does sound like George Kittle will play.
Yeah.
The Packers are also weaker, much weaker against short passes. But Purdy, this is interesting, Purdy and Love are the top 2 quarterbacks in the league this year on deep passes.
Remarkable. Is that DVOA?
That's based on DVOA, 16 or more air yards. But Purdy has some kind of a shoulder issue and has held out of practice one day. And everyone sounds like he's going, but at what percentage is he going?
Right. The whole Niners injury report right now, Brock Purdy, day-to-day shoulder. Nick Bosa, hip and oblique. He sounds tenuous. The word that was used was tenuous, that he's going to play. George Kittle sounds close to returning with a hamstring injury. Trent Williams has been playing through an ankle injury for a while. They're just resting him during the week. Shavarius Ward, family tragedy. No sign of him. No timetable for his return. Packers are pretty healthy. Alexander, cornerback, did not play on Wednesday. Knee, he was out for a while in the previous game, but that's kind of 50-50 on whether he's going to play right now.
One other stat I'll point out, the 49ers are 29th against number 2 receivers. So this might be a Christian Watson day for the Packers.
Yeah, is Dobbs officially like the number 1? And Watson?
I think of Jaden Reed as the number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would think if I'd have to look to see what other teams are doing, but if I had a number 1 corner, I would put him on Jaden Reed.
Interesting, because I think of him as a slotty guy.
Yeah, he's a slotty guy, but he's a really good slot.
He's a really good.
I'm on Ross St. Brown. He's the best receiver, even though he's the slotty guy.
Interesting. Okay.
The line is Packers -2. And I lean towards doing the 49ers money line, but the injuries make me wary of that.
Yes, the injuries make me wary. Real quick, by the way, it is a Lambeau game in November. I have your weather report. Nothing to report. High of 45 degrees, 16% chance of rain. So
no, apparently the weather game is tonight. Apparently they're expecting cold and snow flurries tonight for Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I'm going to be tuning in for that, and I'll be on the DVOA Discord. I'm such a Niners skeptic.
Yeah, that you're definitely going Packers.
I'm going Packers, but I do have to check myself when there's money on the actual line here. But that injury report, the way the Packers have been playing, the way Jordan Love has been playing the last week or two, where he's sort of getting out of that goofiness that he had right after the injury, the way guys like Deebo Samuel has been playing. Let me give you this right now. Deebo in the last 4 games, 16 catches in 4 games, 155 yards, 3 drop passes, only 1 broken tackle and 2 missed tackles. So Deebo's had
so it's not just it's he's not getting targeted that much.
He's not getting targeted, and we don't know if he's on Planet Deebo right now. He's dropping the ball again. McCaffrey, we're waiting to see him play his way back. He looks like just another running back right now. I have to, again, I'm a skeptic. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm going with the Packers.
Cardinals at Seahawks is another really good 4 p.m. game. Cardinals are 6-4. Seahawks 5-5. Cardinals are in the playoffs. 81% of time with a win, 49% with a loss. Seahawks 27% of the time with a win, 5% of the time with a loss. So the Seahawks absolutely need this game at home against Arizona, who, as we've talked about, and think we talked about this a bit on the show on Monday, and they're basically B- in everything except for passing, where they're an A.
Right. And if you really look at the Cardinals' running game, it's really been stirring the drink, especially yards after contact. The way they design their runs is very impressive as well. But one of the problems, I look at both of these teams, and like and the Rams, which we're going to get to, all of them are just sort of like there. One thing,
yeah. I mean, the Seahawks they can take advantage of. The Cardinals do not have a pass rush.
No, not very good.
Their coverage has been very good, which is how their defense has been good, but they are only 31st in pass rush win rate from ESPN and 30th in pressure rate from the FTN Stats Hub.
Not surprising. They did get Baron Browning, bringing him in to help with that. They also have an injury in the secondary to safety Jalen Thompson. They have excellent safeties, him and Budda Baker. He was a do not practice. One thing I noticed about the Seahawks, I was looking at the DVOA stats, 32nd in defensive variance, the most variant defense in the NFL. And I looked at why. It's because of the injuries they've had staggered throughout the season. They've only had 6 defenders play all 10 of their games, and a couple of those defenders are like role players. Early in the season, they had an injury rush at the defensive line. Then they had injury rush at the secondary where Woolen and one of the other guys was out. Now they're healthy. So it'll be interesting to see if this defense is mostly healthy, where it really stands, and if it's the good Seahawks or the bad Seahawks.
And this is my favorite weird split that I found this week.
Oh, no.
Here is the Seahawks offense running game rank by down.
Okay.
First down, 28th.
Okay.
Second down, first.
Third down's going to be hard.
Third down, 31st.
Yes.
That's wacky.
They're horrible in short yardage. I don't know what's going on first down.
Yeah, but they're horrible on short yardage.
Horrible in short yardage. They're horrible at the goal line as well, which is often a short yardage situation. I think they're 31st or 32nd in goal line offense, and a lot of that is their inability to run mixed with Geno threw a couple doofus balls into the end zone when he was in the goal line.
The line is different in different places. The majority of places seem to have Seahawks -1. But I think there's some pick'ems and even some Cardinals -1 out there.
I love that people pay so little attention to the Cardinals that the house doesn't even know where to put them.
Also, there's not much difference between a pick'em, a -1, and a +1. So
that's true. But like a 2-point spread along the way is this time of year is significant. I'm a Cardinals believer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that they're growing a team. Paris Johnson's playing well. Marvin Harrison's coming around. Trey McBride has turned into a really good tight end. They've got guys on defense like Zaven Collins, like Jalen Thompson was healthy that you don't think of, but are turning into solid players.
Garrett Williams, the cornerback, is having a very good season.
He's having a good season. They're getting one of their first round picks back, Darius Robinson, on the interior line. That could help this week. I'm a Cardinals believer.
And finally, let's do the Sunday night game, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Rams. Eagles are 8-2. Rams are 5-5. Eagles are basically in the playoffs. Rams, 27% of the time with a win, 10% of the time with a loss. Now, I went back and I looked at the DVOA with and without the receivers. Now, it's complicated by the fact that there is one really bad game on the Rams schedule this year, and it was the game that Kupp played, but Nakua didn't.
The Cardinals game.
But yes, if you look at just the Kupp numbers, the Rams offense with Kupp healthy, 7.9%. Without Kupp, 5.2%. It's not that big a difference. But if you look at it with and without Nakua, because of that one game, it's a bigger difference. Is that because Nakua was so important, or is that because that game just happened to suck?
That game happened to suck, and I don't know if Kupp was available for all of it. That might be something in there. I don't know how many snaps he played.
Yeah, he played like half of it, I think.
Okay, which I mean, I don't know. I don't have it in front of me whether they fell apart after that, but it's a different team. It's a different Rams team when they have both of those guys out there.
And the other thing about the Rams that's really good for this year is a young defensive line, strong young defensive lineman, Jared Verse, leader for Defensive Rookie of the Year, Brendan Fisk. What's his name, who had all the sacks last year? Kobe Turner, I think.
Yes.
And against great Eagles offensive line.
Right. And the Eagles are going to try to run. Rams are another one of those teams. And again, you broke it down by who was healthy. when you look at all their DVOA profile, it is like mid, 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 mid. And I have a hard time range finding, especially on defense, like really where they stand when they're going to face a tougher offense.
The Rams are the number 6 defense on passes up the middle.
Well.
This is the wrong offense to have that strength against.
They will defend the one throw. Jalen Hurts. By the way, Jalen Hurts' one throw over the middle was really important against Washington last Thursday night because he dumped it off to Saquon over the middle, and Saquon ran for like 1,000,000 yards. So they'll be able to stop that one play. That'll help the Rams a little bit.
And the Rams are also 30th against deep passes. So Devontae Smith getting down past the defense could be a thing.
That could be a thing. Of course, the Eagles like to take those deep shots. Eagles defense is number 1 against deep passes. Not super helpful against the
They are the best defense to get deep passes this year.
Right. The really emerging secondary there for the Eagles in terms of those rookies.
Quinion Mitchell is definitely he's a rookie of the year candidate too.
Right. I mean, what's his name? Jared Verse is running away with it, I think. But great season.
Yeah, Quinion Mitchell might be 2 or Beanie Bishop might be 2. Those guys are probably 2 and 3.
Pulling it up right now for you. Verse at -150. Quinion at +160. Then Calvin Bullock at +750. Leatu Latu at +900. Fiske at +1,200. Cooper DeVille at +1,400. So it is kind of a 2-person race.
Bishop should be in there, though. Bishop's played very well.
Yeah.
He's undrafted, which is why I think people aren't thinking about it, but he's playing very well for the Steelers.
It would be cool to have if they officialized an undrafted Rookie of the Year award.
That would be fun.
Yes. Last year, I guess it would have been Ivan Pace Jr. for the Vikings.
Yes.
Was a good one. There's always a running back. It would be a fun little thing. People could gamble on it, and like it would keep us on our toes to like keep track of some of these guys.
Finally, I have your night prop special.
Oh, good.
If you believe in quarter splits, which I have said are not very predictive, but if you believe in them and you want to go to bed early, the Eagles offense is 27th in the first half and 3rd in the second half. The Rams offense is 20th in the first half and 7th in the second half. So first half under would be your night game prop special. I
would say Rams first quarter because the Eagles only have 14 first quarter points this year, and they really goof around. They really goof around.
So the under Rams line for the first quarter or an under the total?
Take a Rams line on the first quarter or take an under. If you're, an Eagles fan, take the under so you're not like picking against your team. It's a Sunday night. I ain't going to bed. And it's an Eagles game. I ain't going to bed, but I still love those props.
The line on this game is Eagles -2.5 in some places.
Okay.
And Eagles -3 in some places. And the system has no pick.
Yeah. I like the Eagles, but like right there, the feeling that it could be 26-23 or something like that.
And it's on the road, right? The Eagle again, this is just a big week for road favorites. The Eagles are favored on the road. I don't know which one, 3. I would not bet on this line, but it's I don't know if I had to take between the two. I guess I would take the Rams if it's 3 and the Eagles if it's 2.5. Like it's really close.
It's really close. You got Jake Elliott missing 50+ yard field goals regularly. You've got who knows what kind of 2-point conversion zaniness could come up with the Eagles. They're a hard team now that they're playing. They're not facing these weaker opponents to kind of understand where they're going to fall in on that. I'll take the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles. If you get up to about 4 points, I'd start worrying.
All right. That does it for today's show. Make it through that 1 p.m. window, kids, because then it gets a lot better after that. 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. are very good. And enjoy tonight. Enjoy the Jameis Winston experience.
Oh, I can't wait.
Jameis Winston versus Russell Wilson tonight on Amazon Prime. We will be back on Monday to wrap up Week 12, 11 a.m. Eastern. You will find us. And again, you hear this on all your favorite podcasts. I'm going to say it too. Please like and subscribe and review the show. Tell people about the show. It does help people find us. It really does. And get more listeners out there would be great. So please do that. And we will see you Monday at 11 a.m. For Mike Tanier, I am Aaron Schatz. Have a good weekend, everybody.